Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling on a Saturday. It is our three-day week with dark tomorrow for Easter. 10-race card ahead of us, a lot to talk about, so we're going to get right to work, and we'll go over to NYRA Bets. You need to do some work if you're not a member of NYRA Bets. Use the promo code STAKES200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. If we get through things quickly, we'll throw out a couple of pains at Keeneland. I know Anthony has some. We have the $25 match, Oaklawn, Keeneland, Aqueduct today. Big card at Keeneland.
Opt in.
I already did opt in. I don't think I'll make it, but I did opt in just in case. I think I have no problem at Keeneland and Aqueduct. Obviously, I have no problem. Oaklawn, I think I may have a problem, but I'll do my best. I'm a gamer, beyond for the races 7 through 10 there later. What else do we have?
If you're anything, Andy, you're a gamer.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I like it when it starts at 4-4-4, Anthony. It's just got a sort of, but it really should be starting at 5-5-5 for a pick 5, right? It's a bad, there's a lot of 4s in there. By the way, speaking of 5s, how about Javier winning the first 4 races and doing it on the 5 in each race? A lot of people on Twitter ask me if that's ever happened before. Did they think I knew?
You know
anyway,
but you know everything.
Keeneland and Aqueduct. Let me tell you something. If I knew everything -1, that would be the thing I didn't know. If anybody ever won the first 4 races on the same number, you're actually more inclined to know that than me.
Right.
You know a lot. You know a lot of useless information, just like I do.
I'm full of useless
Between the two of
information.
us, we've got useless information covered about 97% in horse racing. Keeneland, Aqueduct, Keeneland, Aqueduct, Keeneland. A couple stakes in there. The Lexington. The 11th is to return to Highly Motivated.
I'm very well aware.
I knew you were. What else do we have? We have the show. We have the contest is today. Top of the stretch. Top of the stretch. Hurry before it's gone. I agree. Those are great spots. Go to BelmontStakes.com. That's of course for Belmont Stakes Day, but you can really get them for any day. And they're a lot of fun and they're very, very popular. Finally, I think we're going to the show. Yeah, there we go. 1 to 4:30. That's on FS2. We're on, I think, other networks like SNY and things. But that's just the FS2 part. But we're on SNY. We're on through to 6:30 because I'm on 6:30. Anyhow, that's what we got. We got race number 1. So what are you doing race number 1, Mr. Stabile?
I went to the Chad Brown first time starter Digitize.
Okay.
Yeah, this was more of a process of elimination. Let's get that out again. A process of elimination selection. I did not, higher quality. The other Chad Brown, that's your 8-5 favorite right now, has some gate woes and was scratched here a couple of weeks ago for acting up and sitting down in the starting gate. He hasn't raced in 14 and a half months at this point, so I didn't really care for him. I didn't care for your top pick. I guess Jester's Song could win. I didn't like the Randy Persotto, so I wound up on the Chad first third. Dan was 2 for 13 as a first fall. Of course, Chad is the king of McLean's music offspring. So, yeah, didn't really hear anything in this horse. I didn't really care for the runners, so I sided with the first.
Okay, I saw the race completely differently than you. I want to show the start. I'm going to show the start until they hit the stretch in Proven Hope's first race, and my guess is a clean break and everything. I think he's going to be tough in this race, though I respect some of the others. He actually broke fine in this race, as you can see, but he just, to me, was really having trouble handling the track. And when you watch the races at Gulfstream, they because they're not interested in showing people the race, they have all these sort of cuts and stupid things, just because they put a big TV up in the middle of it. It's always good to have the race interrupted early, but he was slipping and sliding around the track and he drops back. And so now he's dropped back pretty much close to last. I think he had 1 horse behind him and he's off the screen at this point. But you're going to see him commence a substantial five-wide rally. And for my money, he actually made an impact on this race with this run. And it's not like he's a horse that showed that he can't run at all. I think he's a horse that showed he can run. Just because he didn't finish well and he wasn't part of the finish, in my opinion, this horse showed that he can run. So, it's a race that came up reasonably fast anyway. Still got a buyer figure of 68. So I thought that made him dangerous. I don't have a problem with Jester's Song. I think he's running some very tough races in his 2 races. I think he's run fine in there. I don't think of a problem. And I hear you with higher quality. I was mostly 1s and 5s in this race, but I prefer the number 1, Proven Hope, who I thought was the horse to beat in here. Like you, I don't know anything about Digitize, but I know that the Klarovich and Chad Brown firsters, a lot of them have run and they've won. I don't know. Are they all going to be able to run? Maybe they are. I'm guessing this one can't. You were guessing it can. Race number 2. Race number 2, there's really no question. Number 7, Street Culture, is the horse to beat. We'll take a look at his last race. And you liked him last time, and I mean, top of the stretch, he looked like ginger ale. I mean, I kicked myself. I said, how did I not take this Linda Rice horse, second of a layoff at 5-1? I don't like the way he hung, but to be fair, I don't know if he's meeting much competition. I picked against him, you picked against him, but to deny he's the horse to beat is foolish.
No, obviously. I can't, after having him at 5-1 last time.
Right, who needs him at even money?
I don't need him. I just want to take a shot at it. And listen, whether you had him or not last time, you can't be happy with his performance because it looks like he's just going to.
Well, I mean, it's not like Tamburo Sox wouldn't be 3-5 in this race, and he didn't run badly in finishing second a subsequent start. So he met a horse that was better. I'm not in love with this horse, and he's going to be a heavy favorite, but you're going to be surprised. I mean,
I'm not going to be surprised.
There's 2 horses that can possibly beat him realistically, the 2 and 4. I like the one you don't like. Why do you like Alarming Mission?
Well, it wasn't the one. It wasn't that I wouldn't necessarily. I don't like.
Or I went the other way.
Yeah, I mean, I took the Alarming Mission. Could be a little bit of a bigger price. Gets the Lasix, drops down a little bit. Second-time starter for Donk, whose numbers, his second-time starter numbers, kind of better than his first-time starter numbers. That was it. I mean, I just wanted the better price. Baron Marchi. Is it Marquis or Marchi?
Yeah, I'll get to him in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you. I thought the 2 was a little green first time out, but I didn't really think he did much running. As far as Baron Marquis, I actually thought he actually ran a little bit. You know, he broke well. He completely dropped back, and I think in watching that race, he's the one of the 2 that I thought was the most likely to move forward in his second start, more so. And we'll see if he's as short a price as David says. David's probably right, he usually is. I didn't think there would be that big a discrepancy between the 2 and 4, and I preferred the 4. But there's just nobody else in here. I don't know where else you would possibly go.
I have no clue.
Joe Gonzalez has done no running in his races, so I couldn't take him, and the others just looked like they were overmatched. Race number 3. Race number 3, I thought was a kind of a headache. I wanted to show Microsecond's race from almost exactly a year ago, and it's 3 back for him the last time he was competitive. He has run against better horses. This was a tough loss in 1.25 miles. It does feel like, though, he's the controlling speed in this race, and I think it makes him the horse to beat.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. I don't like all the 3 layoff lines. Now he goes from Todd to Rudy, and he drops in for the tag for the first time. I don't know. I thought there were too many red flags for me. Source's last race was, I mean, obviously something went wrong. But even the race 2 back, he never made the lead from the rail. To me, it was almost like he started going bad in June, and then he needed almost 3 months, and then he eased.
Well, he didn't run. I don't agree. He didn't start going bad. He actually ran well in June 5th.
But he didn't. But he lost his speed.
No, he got checked out of the grace in the beginning. That's what happened. He didn't lose his speed. The problem is what happened after that. He didn't come back for nearly 3 months, and he's eased. But remember saying, he was a rabbit last time.
Right.
So you can forgive his last race.
He ran Rinaldi into the ground.
Right, he was the rabbit. He was a rabbit. And subsequently, we haven't seen him in a long time, he's dropping, but I think you can make excuses for his seemingly poor performance. As a rabbit, he still ran fast enough to beat these 2 races back. They were a much better field, and he had trouble in that race. Rudy Rodriguez, and I think I forgot to send in trainer stats. I think that's what happened. But Rudy Rodriguez on trainer switches on the turf is 0 for 14. 2 of them hit the board, and 6 of them were short prices. So he has not had much success, and he's 0 for 3 off of 6 to 12-month layoffs. This is not his strength. You know, Rudy's not good off the claim in the turf, particularly with routers, and off trainer switches. Having said that, are you going to really be surprised when he wires the field?
No, I guess not.
You know, I mean, it does seem like being forward in these races is helpful.
Yes.
You know, you look at yesterday's race. I mean, look at almost won the 8th race yesterday. Sort of an impossible horse in the front. I mean, seriously, yeah. I thought I was so high watching the race and seeing him in front. And you go through the race, I mean, there's a lot of horses that have races that can win, right? Jack the Cat, Danzig with the Stars, who did get better at Saratoga, but he can win. Straw into Goal, I didn't really like him. He seems like he's a horse that really is much better when he's forward. I mean, his best racer forward, and he's clearly not getting the lead from the 6 in this race.
Right.
Since the 6 can't run at all anymore, and I don't see why that would happen, right? So why did you go to Hush of a Storm, who I also picked?
This is a horse who just, he's not really a main track horse. I think his poly form, his all-weather form, whatever you want to call it, was obviously much better than anything else he's done in his turf race. I mean, he hadn't run for 6 months when he ran on the turf. He caught us, he was running a
7,
3-year-old,
really.
7 months, 3-year-old stakes race, caught a soft ground. I mean, he didn't run that badly. The race was
He didn't
fast
run well,
enough.
to be fair, and I picked him too. But if you watch that race, he did absolutely no running in that race, to be fair. They were better horses. It was a boggy turf. I agree with you on all of that. But he didn't do any running. That's one of those turf running lines that looks like he did more running than he did.
There's a chance this horse just, I know his figs are faster than earlier in his career, but there's a chance this horse just didn't move forward in his 4-year-old year. And I think that's an obvious concern, but I'm going to give him one more chance. He has some recency. And like I said, I didn't think his turf, I don't want to say you can throw out his turf race, because I agree with you. He did not do much running. I don't think he ran good. I don't think he ran bad.
Right, no, I didn't. I don't disagree. It's hard, he's stake face. I almost wish that race wasn't even in here, to be honest.
Right, he'd probably get another point on the board if the turf race wasn't on there.
But I think that it's sort of distracting. Well, there's also something about him that makes him not completely unique in this field, or not unique at all, because you're either unique or not. Thin White Duke, and I certainly hope that I'm wrong, and he runs well for my friends who own him, but he's a little tough to make, especially going long. What is the difference between Hush of the Storm and every other horse in this race?
He's never won on the turf?
Every other horse in this race is coming off a layoff.
Oh, yeah, the recent.
The 6,
I thought I said
the
it
7,
already.
8, and 9 are all coming off of layoffs,
Yeah.
and he has recent form. So doesn't mean that all the horses coming off layoffs, 1 or 2 of them are probably going to show up,
Right.
if not more. But none of them are that spectacular.
But it's
I kind of
important.
liked him, but I, to be honest with you, I had a lot of trouble in this race because I didn't like anybody. I sort of picked a horse who's 5
I
and
went
2 in
to
the
the
line
recency, too.
and don't like anybody in this race.
Flickers off Danzig with the Stars, by the way. It's a late
That changes everything for me.
I think he has a legit chance in here.
So do I.
I think he has a legit chance in here. If you don't,
So do I.
if you're in my camp and you're not a fan of Microsecond, I don't really like Microsecond today. I think you want, and like you mentioned, Danny, I think you want to be forward in these races. I would imagine Trevor's going to keep him. Depending on how much.
No, he could easily be sitting
Yeah,
second
I think
here.
he'll be sitting
I think
second.
the 1 and 2 need to get themselves in a position
Yep.
as well, though, and we'll see. But I don't disagree. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I think it's hard to make Thin White Duke. I'm not going to be shocked
No.
if anybody else wins this
Yep,
race.
good old boy
Even
has
Jack
races.
the Cat has races
Jack
that he
the
has
Cat
a
has
shot to
races.
at least get a piece here.
Yep.
So I don't. That's the problem with this race. I look through and I agree.
We take the 5 and 2 second choice, and 6 of the horses can win.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we don't want to pick any of the others, but that doesn't mean they're not going to win.
Or can win.
Right. That it's not like I have some sort of amount of confidence that, in anybody. I'm not confident in anybody, but I'm not against anybody.
Right.
There's just, I don't have there's not some big knock. I mean, I don't want to bet Rudy either. But that horse could wire the field.
Sure.
I'm with you. I don't particularly like him, but so in the next race is the Plenty of Grace, trained by
Tom Skiffington.
John Veach.
We do this every year, and I always give you the wrong answer.
Is it like a routine that we're
I don't
working
know.
on?
I don't know.
Is this like Mr.
My mind freezes.
It's not a short-term memory. It's a year. It's not long-term, but it's somewhere
I don't
in
know
there.
what it is.
Yeah, it's John Veach. I'm always happy to mention John Veach. John's one of my favorite guys. Just don't see John enough anymore. And John was one heck of a trainer. The guy turned
Sure.
Calumet around, did great with Darby Dan. The guy's won a lot of big races, John Veach.
She was Darby Dan, right?
Yep. Yes, she was. When I think of Darby Dan, and you're a little too young for this, Lou Rondinello was before your time.
I remember. I know the name.
But the Lou Rondinello, you know what his horses were known for?
No.
He had these little these bandages on their leg. They're thin. They weren't like the larger rundowns you see. He had the thin bandages. And whenever I think of Darby Dan, I always think of Lou Rondinello and those bandages for some reason. Oh, he had Darby Creek Road, I think, before Tesher had him. Is that? No, I'm not sure of that, actually. That I could be wrong about. He had some good horses, though. Anyhow, I would like Technical Analysis to win this race. I picked against him. You can get all 4 of my picks, by the way, in the Forest Field. In case you want them.
And he has the winner right there.
For all those of you out there that think that I actually want to give 4 picks so I can tell people I had the winner, because I do that a lot. We'll take a look at her winning the Lake Placid 2-back. She's the speed. She's probably the best horse in the race. She's the horse to beat. I'm not wildly against her. I'm just taking a small shot against her.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
And I hope I'm wrong. I hope she wins.
Yeah, I think she is the best horse in the race. I don't really have much of a doubt about that.
Well, I mean, her numbers aren't overwhelming.
No, I know, but you have to, those are all 3-year-old numbers now.
Well, everybody else is, the 3 is 3-year-old numbers too.
Yeah, the 3 is 3-year-old numbers too, but her 3-year-old numbers are faster than.
A little bit, but not a lot.
Enough. And she has more
2
speed.
and 3 points, Anthony.
And she has speed.
She's 2 and 3 points ahead of her, and Plum Ali's got some stupid rides. Not last time. She had a good ride last time.
I get. She had a great ride last time. I guess. I just feel like I think this filly's going to have a really good season, and I wasn't about to try and get cute in here.
Yeah, I think she'll be very tough to beat, and I'm not against her by any stretch of the imagination, but I think she's coming off a layoff, and I think there is an interesting horse in here. We'll show Plum Ali. I'll tell you something about Plum Ali. I think a lot of people look at these. Now listen, the mile is perfect for technical analysis, no question. I'm not sure that Plum Ali is not more of a miler, and she ran in longer races because those were the lucrative races last year.
Right.
And I know she ran second a mile and eighth in a very good performance in the Wonder again. And listen, she walked in the front end of this race. I'm not going to suggest this race is better than it looks. I mean, there were horses that had trips. Cherie's horse, in the colors, the Forego colors on the outside, that horse ran super in there. White Frost never ran back from this race. I was wondering if she ran anywhere. I looked
last night.
Yeah, I was disappointed. It's a nice horse. She just can't stay sound, I guess.
She didn't have the best trip that day either.
No,
really.
I mean, no. I mean, but the thing about Plum Ali, to be fair, is I think that her form is somewhat of a misrepresentation of her talents.
I don't disagree with that.
I think that she got dragged out of a lot of paceless races, and
well, when you look at her running style, and I'm sorry to step on you, but you see 51 and 1, 51 and 1, 50, 24, 50 and 1. And a horse with her running style is going to be, it's nearly impossible to overcome. I don't care how far you're going to, how long the race is.
All those times in the Wonder again are wrong, and that's part of the problem. They're all wrong. They're 3 seconds faster, the actual times. And
that's why she ran. That's why she at least got a little pace to run into that day.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's the point. And I'm Joel Rosario's biggest fan, as you know. But you also have to acknowledge when maybe he wasn't giving a horse the best of rides. And I think Joel got it in his head that this horse had no speed and wanted to make a big run from the back. And I don't think that's true. And I'll tell you who also doesn't think it's true. His trainer. Because Christophe and I talked about this many, many times, that this was a horse that was being taken out. Now, listen, I blame trainers for this because you hear this from them and they're not definitive enough to tell their rider.
I didn't give them more aggressive. I give them instructions.
So, and I'm not, it's just, so it takes 2 to tango.
Yes, it does.
And
my grandmother used to say that all the time.
Takes 2 to tango?
All the time.
We were very close, I don't know if you know that.
She said that a million times to me in my life.
So I think this horse, well, listen, she's not as fast as Technical, but I think you're going to see her, and I think with Christophe and Manny, they realize she needs to be forward. Now, Technical's just a faster horse than she is.
That was the point I was going to bring up, too.
No, I'm not in love with her, but I think she's okay.
Manny kind of woke her up 2 starts back, right? He kept her a little closer than she had been in kind of a similar pace that she had faced.
And then she got jammed in behind horses, and she had no shot to get through in there. Now, to be fair, she hasn't beaten horses like Technical Analysis.
No.
But I don't think it's impossible.
She's going to have to concede the lead to Technical Analysis, and her best race, you could argue, was when she was able to control last time, and that's obviously not going to
take a quick
in all likelihood not going to happen.
We'll take a quick look at Flower Point winning last time, and I'll tell you something about Flower Point. I'm not convinced that she's really a 2-turn horse. I think her better races are around 1 turn, maybe even shorter. She ran actually very well in the Noble Damsel, to be fair.
But that's the 1 turnover.
Right, but it's 1 turn. Now, having said that, sometimes they get older, they want to go a little bit longer. I know she won this race, but she's not winning today's race running this race.
No, she's not.
And
she'll be a comfortable 3rd if she does. Maybe 4th if she does.
I think 4th. I do like Oms a little bit in this race. I'm not. Now, I think she's going to be 3rd choice. I can't believe Plum Ali is going to be a longer price than her, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll show her race finishing 2nd to Regal Glory, where, by the way, she was aggressive. And I'm not sitting in front here, but she's supposed to be sitting 2nd on the rail.
This was a good ride from Joel.
It was a very good ride. And she finished out of Shifty She, who is no bum by any stretch of the imagination. And this was a good ride by Joel. I have absolutely no idea what he was doing last time. But she had absolutely no chance at any point in that race. She wasn't forward after being forward. I don't know why they wouldn't have been a little more aggressive last time out. It's like everybody took back behind an Italian who was like the third or fourth fastest horse in the race.
That was the strangest race I'd ever seen run in my life.
She was out in the middle of the racetrack around the turn. She just had no shot. And a race 2 back, I thought was the one race that gave anybody a solid shot to beat the favorite. I don't think she's going to beat the favorite. I think it's more likely the 6 wins.
The Pegasus race,
But
the only race.
at a better price, I'll give her. And it's not the only good race she's run, and I thought she could get a good trip sitting. And if technical analysis isn't right on top of her game for her first race back, she can beat her. If technical analysis,
her first 4 races, this filly, she looked like she was going to be some kind of horse. She hasn't won in 2 years.
Her race, the Jimmy Durante. Do you remember who was favored in that race? I bet her that day. I hated the horse who was favored in that race. Do you know who was favored and why?
I don't remember.
Well, she's the horse that finished third. Princess is a Caroline. Do you remember her?
Oh yeah, the half to Lady Eli.
And it's funny because she won her debut and paid $12, and everybody said, "How could
Princessa Caroline?
how could a half to Lady Eli?" And I remember that Chad Brown had told me before the race, she's not bad. He said she just kind of one-paced, and I don't have any real confidence in her. She paid $12. He was right. She's kind of one-paced, and she's okay. She happened to win that day and run well, but the reality was he was right about her.
Right.
And she went out there, and she was a huge favorite, and there was Oms coming in off like legitimate races, and I guess you had to accept that she could go longer. But you're right. She started out like she was going to be a good horse.
Good horse.
Tough game. Race number 5. This is the race that Anthony circled in the card. Anthony said to me the other day, let me tell you something. I cannot wait to bet Martinez. Here's, you know what? I keep going back to this race a year and a half ago.
I originally picked against
because
Martinez.
I got beat an absolute zop at the wire at like
For the
5-1 with what's my category. Feel free to roll it at any time, guys. This horse will probably win today, but I wouldn't bet a nickel on this horse.
I scratched into this horse late. And had I not been sitting
Scratches
here,
were very friendly to you today, so I don't want any complaints.
and how I was, I don't know why you would say that.
You'll
I don't have any other scratches.
you got your third choice in the last race, and you picked 2 horses that couldn't win the last race.
I was
Please,
trying to get
stop.
a little funky in the last race today.
By picking an overbet bad horse and a ridiculous
relax,
horse.
Relax.
That, by the way, is entered Thursday that everybody else knew was scratching.
No, I saw that, but I guess consecutive day. Right. I got screwed up because of no racing tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I have no defense for this. This is scratching when I was down
this
here.
This horse may win because nobody has any form, and to be fair, this horse does have a dirt race that's not horrible. It's not particularly good. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he can't win. He might just be the best horse in the race.
I'm not going to do it now, but had I been in front of my laptop, I probably would have made it 3-8.
I like Yaha in this race.
Yaha.
Okay, that too. And my point on Yaha is when this horse was running for the Potts Barn, make no mistake, Bonnie Lucas is the Potts Barn. She won a race the other day with a horse that moved up, much like a lot of their horses have moved up. This horse was running for the Potts Barn. That barn was as dead as you could possibly be. Well, now they've been a lot more live. So I'm going to take a shot. 0 for 11 or not. I like Yaha. You can have the rest of them.
Yeah.
There is a new sheriff in town, though, Marshall Dillon. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling, on to race number 6, where high opinion is really, I think, the question to start the race. And we'll show her last race where she finished second to Shifty She and the Noble Damsel. I didn't think she had an excuse, but I don't think she ran badly. Shifty She just ran really well. I think the feeling was that Tony Dutcher wanted a race for her, and I think the race he wanted to go in didn't fill, so he opted for the sprint over the stake. And the reality is, I don't think the purse is that different, right? This is $84,000, and the stake's probably 100, right? So I get it. You know, I know she won at 7 furlongs.
And technical analysis wasn't going to be in here.
Well, no, but winning the stake is better for her.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives her black type, and it's not. Let me tell you something. This horse's best race could be technical analysis race last year. This horse is good.
Yeah.
Make no, this horse lost by a nose to your favorite horse, Viadera, last year in the Boston Spa.
That's very true.
So this is a good horse. Let me tell you, I think that technical analysis, they're happy that this horse opted for this race.
Maybe.
Because she was the clear-cut second choice in there. Now, she may need a race. I know she won at 7. There's a big difference between 7 and 6. But
Huge. Big difference at Belmont Park at 7 and Aqueduct at 6.
But she is the best horse in this race. Well, she's the best horse in this race. Doesn't mean she's the best horse 6
I
furlongs.
probably wouldn't argue that. Right, but the distance is a huge question.
This horse is good.
Yeah, last 2 races, last 3 races, really. Yeah, no,
I'm just going to laugh because I've joked with Tony Dutcher about this horse when he ran her longer, and I said she wanted to go shorter.
Oh, the mile and a
and he
quarter
said,
race,
we were talking about Saratoga, and he said, you were right. I ran her mile. He was, listen, you try it out. We run those longer races, and if you can run those longer races, it gives you more options. And it's not like she ran that badly. She did run second, but she's better than Sister O'Toole. I don't know if she's better this much shorter, but we'll see. You know, you got to be careful in my opinion, having a strong opinion against the best horse, especially because you and I picked a horse that's the favorite in the morning line. And we'll take a look at Manon, and this is her first race here at 6 furlongs. She also should have won the Wild Applause. Manny just got massively unlucky in there. Caught behind horses and was able to get out just too late. This filly kicks into gear. My God.
Yeah, and her first 2 races around the 1 turn here in the States are very good.
She's like a gallop racer horse, isn't she?
Exactly right, yeah. You know, the race behind technical analysis is around 2 turns in Saratoga.
Look at this, though. That's the 8th pole.
Yep.
She's just making the lead. I watched this at Churchill. I remember watching this.
Yeah, she's gone.
She's a gallop racer. You know, one of those horses in gallop racer that, like, blows by, and Manny basically eased her up. She's a sprinter.
Yeah, she gets back to sprinting. She gets her Lasix back. I think that might help a little bit as well. Yeah, there was just, we're putting up a late pick 5 ticket over at NairoBets today. I singled her.
Really?
I did.
I worry a little bit 2 things. Often they're just not as good the next year.
Maybe.
You know, they just aren't. And also, Manny's good and patient on this filly, and he showed in her first 2 starts. He got unlucky the second time, giving her the right ride. I worry a little drawing the rail. You like the idea you can save ground, but there isn't much pace in this race. And I realized that if you want to go to Othwalk to wire the field, have at it. That's fine, because she's the speed, and Weekend Fun's stalking her, and she's obviously overmatched in this race. But I worry that the way the dynamic's set up, she gets a little jammed up. And this is not a horse you want to get jammed up in. You want a little more pace, not necessarily because she needs pace to close, but you want a little separation. And if you don't get separation in this race, this filly could get herself in trouble. And that worries me.
The fact that Manny got the job done with her the first time, it doesn't bother me as much. I mean, she ran into a nice filly in Runaway Rumor when she got beaten in Wild.
Well, she was better than Runaway Rumor that day, too. And I get it. I'm okay. Anyway, I think Can't Buy Love is dangerous for Mike Trombetta. I know she's running a little bit slower, but I respect him coming up with these sprinters. Now, Messidor. I don't think you want to completely disregard. You don't have Messidor anywhere?
No,
you got her second.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a bad field she beat last time.
Terrible field last time. Okay. Yeah, not a good field at all.
Okay.
And she got a really good trip.
Well, she did break 3/4 of a length to a length slow. She got a good ride by Javier. But she did have a little trouble in there. I just feel like this is such a better field. But she won sprinting. She could win. Race number 7. We'll hold off on the replay for a little while. What'd you do here?
I went to Flowing River. I went outside.
Why today?
I'm gonna try and wire this field. I'm not gonna do it. Trevor McCarthy's going to try to wire this field with Flowing River.
But why would Jose Gomez let him get away? He didn't last time, and he buried him.
He's outside of Eminency now.
Okay.
I think you have to try to get around Eminency. And I think if you do that, you can discourage Gomez and Eminency. If there is intent, and I am confident with with a guy like Trevor McCarthy aboard, that there will be, that he'll be able to shake away from these horses.
Okay, we saw the race very differently. That's fine. I think the horse you want out of that race is Modern Midas. We'll show you the start, I think, of the race for a couple hundred yards with Modern Midas, and then we'll show the stretch, which basically just features the other two horses. But Modern Midas is the 7 in here, and stumbled badly at the start and just completely dropped out of the race. And this was March 19th, the day that nobody was making up ground. And when you're in a track and nobody's able to make up ground and you stumble badly at the start and you end up last, that's kind of a problem. And the reality is this horse actually ran extremely well to finish fourth. And this is a horse who actually ran very well in the first start and has been unlucky at the starts. I don't think it's a gate issue. Gets a rider change, Jose Lezcano. To me, this is the horse you want out of the race. I have no issue that M&C is the horse to beat. I've seen enough of Flowing River. Maybe you're right. Maybe he'll wire the field. But I thought last time was the time for him, and he just, I mean, the other horse had post 13. He had to be used to get in the race, and he still beat him by 3 lengths. They all lost to this Chad Brown horse off a layoff, Tin Pan Alley, who'd run well in Saratoga his first start. I'll tell you what, though.
Will they all lose again to a Chad Brown horse off a layoff?
Yeah, I think Aggregation is actually going to run well in this race. I know his first race wasn't really that good. He broke a little slow from the inside. There was a lot going on in that race. Wasn't there a heavy favorite that ran nowhere? I think there was. I think Aggregation is probably one of these horses that probably just needed to run last year or wasn't ready to run, and today is going to be ready to run. I have no story. I would never ask about a horse like this, but I think Aggregation is going to run better today. I'm going to use the 1s and 3s and try to beat the 2 on the outside. I'll take the most money.
Okay.
See what happens. What? Wait a second. Khufu 7-2?
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Okay. David, this horse is not going to be 7-2. Really? Horse, to be fair, this horse got bet for both times.
Both times.
Is a trainer, though, that people just aren't that familiar with going to take that much money? That's what I would wonder.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But don't worry. David will never have a bad line, as we saw at yesterday's performance.
That was something
at Keeneland.
yesterday.
Make horse 50-1 in a stake, a grade 1. You better be right. So race number 8. We will show the logical horses in this race, and this is Hilliard finishing second and High Tide running third. 2 more logical horses, but 2 more layoff horses as well.
Yes, and you know I'm not the biggest fan of layoff horses. I thought about picking Lord of War, but Hilliard's a little bit of a pet of mine. I like Hilliard. And, you know, I mean, you get beat less than 3 lengths to Public Sector and never surprised, and you come back in a starter. Good job reading the condition book by my man Mike Maker here.
Maybe Jordan Wyckoff is one of the book.
Maybe Jordan Wyckoff read that.
I mean, I don't know. You know, we could have a maybe debate to see who's
Seems
smarter
like
between
there's
Jordan
going
and
to
Mike.
be, even with bar 14
different
coming-
opinions.
Yeah, maybe. You know, with Spectator list signed on in here, probably.
Well, there is a scratch. The 2 does change it, but Spectator. I mean, the 1.
yeah.
But Spectatorless has got to go in
He's
this
going to
race.
put plenty of speed on in here, so.
But you lost a major speed, which negatively, it probably doesn't hurt High Tide as much as it hurts this horse. I'll tell you what's funny about Hilliard. Do you remember the horse that everybody was talking about out of the Hill Prince?
No.
The Clement horse that had run second, I think, in the Saratoga
in the
Derby.
Saratoga Derby too.
And
yeah.
how it was amazing how well he closed in that paceless race. This horse outclosed him. That's what I think is amazing. If this is a fairly run race and he runs his race, he's going to win. But he could be a little compromised, and I think it could help the 8 a little bit. I would use both of them. You want Lord of War here? Lord of War.
I figured that with bar 14, well, even with bar 14 out, I mean, Lord of War is supposed to kind of get the cozy trip, right?
Well, I don't know. He should be forward. Yeah. I didn't think it was good enough, but no, I hear you. He could be forward. No, the scratch definitely helps him. I'm
And
not
he
gonna screw that.
has
I
the
gave him a long
recency.
look.
You know, we talked about this earlier. He has the recency. Yeah. He has a race.
I'm taking a shot in this race with Ginsu Warrior. Tom Morley has run 3 horses over the last few years. First time off the claim, first time in the turf. 2 of them won for an ROI of $37.63 out of the 3 of them. One of them was Xanthique, who went on to be a stakes horse.
Tell your daddy in there?
No, So he run 500 times in the turf. The other one was an 11-1. It was a decent horse. I forget who it was. And the other one that lost was over 3 years. Ran second at 4-1. This horse, the dam didn't win the turf, but she ran a 74 buyer from Mike Maker. The second dam was actually a solid turf runner. So there's pedigree on Ginsu Warrior in this race. This horse can be a bit forward. I have no confidence. I may just be taking a shot in the dark here. But I'm not thrilled with taking Hilliard off the layoff with no speed. High Tide, it's okay. Certainly win this race. I think they're logical too. So I'm going to use 5, 8, 10 in here and hope to get lucky with the 5. I thought he was an interesting horse for a trainer who's done extremely well in these situations.
Yeah, I'm going to use him. And, he's on the ticket. He's on the pick 5 ticket.
Maggie's laughing at me for picking this horse. Oh, no. No, actually, Maggie got something wrong. She's never wrong with it. She thought it was some other horse. She's trying to figure out who the other horse was. Now she can look it up and tell us. It's somebody we know. The horse.
You said
the other,
11-1?
I think 11-1. Whatever. So I liked Bella Principessa in race number 9. I'm a little annoyed. I thought she was really interesting here. Now I scratched the same horse as you, who could win, but I wanted to bet Bella Principessa. I'll tell you what I don't want to do in here. There are horses that can win here that I don't want to bet.
Okay.
I don't want to bet Theodora Grace. Let's look at her race 2 back. I'm sorry, Anthony. If she couldn't win this day, she's winning without me. This was one of the most embarrassing hang jobs in the history of horse racing. You're going to argue with me? This was.
Why are you looking to fight with me?
I was watching this race, Anthony, walking up Broadway because the subways were down, and I needed her for the pick 5. This is. I wasn't even annoyed that I lost because it was such a pathetic hang job. The only thing that annoyed me about this horse, honestly, was that Rob Masiello didn't own her. That was the only thing annoying, you know? I mean, if a horse is going to hang that badly, at least Rob could have suffered, don't you think?
Why are you bothering me, Rob?
Why not? Flashing Red was the other horse.
I knew who it was because I bet him. I couldn't remember
Maggie.
his name.
He knew it was.
He went wire to wire.
I know.
He was wire to wire.
As a matter of fact, I feel like, I think I was off that day.
You weren't here.
And I didn't get involved. And when I saw he won and paid that price,
I want to say he won the second. I want to say it was the second race.
Throw up. Yeah, he wired the field. I remember seeing he won and thinking, oh my God, this horse paid $24.
Might have been Javier.
I would have bet him. Yeah. I was definitely off that day. And I remember thinking, I would have bet that horse. Yeah. That's a good call.
He was a half to a Pat Reynolds horse that had turf or something. I don't remember the whole thing.
And I mean, Highway Queen.
No,
she's 0 for 6 with 5.
Man, Steve Lasaris, but how many times are you going to take?
I'm going to tell you, I actually think she's the best horse in this race.
She might be.
But she doesn't want to win.
No, she doesn't want to win.
She just has a lot of hang in her, and that bothered me. And Freedom of the Press, I know she won big last time, and I won't be shocked if she wins this race. But she's 3-1 on the line, and I mean, now to be fair, did she not beat the horse that was second there? Was that the horse? That's not the horse that won the last race, is it?
Who are we talking about here?
The horse that won yesterday's last race.
The horse that won yesterday's last race was
the TT horse, the Obrey horse.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the horse that was second to her in this race, was it?
I don't think so.
No, because that horse was coming off slow wires. This was a terrible field. I bet the second horse and boxed with the third horse just to bet against this horse. I don't know. Maybe, though, she found a home going short. Because she was cut out to be a pretty decent horse. You don't have this horse anywhere? Nowhere?
No.
No?
I want the 12's my fuzzy here. The Goddess of Snakes.
I think it's touching that you and Chad are pals again, because you're paying a lot of those Chad Summers
Nothing to do
horses
with
now.
anything. I thought this horse's 2 turf races were sneaky okay.
Oh, actually, the horse that beat this horse is the horse who won the last race yesterday.
Yes.
That's the horse, right? This might be the horse who finished second.
This might be
in that
the
race.
one. Yes.
I'm going to tell you, she's going to have to run better than winning the last race.
Yeah, you know, I'm assuming part of the reason you picked Missing Link is because the barn came up here and had the 2 runners, and she looks like she's supposed to be the speed from the inside.
Well, I'm a little worried about the 12 having some speed, too.
And I want the horses. I don't see any other real pace presence in here. The Goddess of Snakes has the race off the bench, like Missing Link has a couple of races under her belt. I thought about it. The way the Peter Waller horses ran up here the other day.
Well, there's been a sea change here in the last few weeks.
Yep.
Jamie Ness couldn't win a race in New York after dominating at 30% at Parks to save his life. Suddenly his horses are running here, and they're running like they run at Parks.
That thing ran yesterday like
Peter
that
Walder,
horse yesterday ran like he
who
runs
was
at
1 for
Parks.
31 over 5 years. He shipped up 2 horses here the other day. Now the one who won was the same one who won at Saratoga, to be fair, and also won a race.
But that wasn't the horse in the feature.
Also won a race that where the favorite was basically eased.
The horse that ran second in the feature.
But the horse in the feature, who could have been 20 to 1 and you wouldn't have blinked an eye, and run 7th and you wouldn't have blinked an eye, went off at 6 to 1 and almost beat a potential stakes horse. That caught your attention.
Yeah.
So it does seem like Peter Walder is now shipping here.
Casalo
with a
winning
purpose.
doesn't catch your attention. Casalo winning and that horse running
Yes,
as well as he
together.
did. Now it's like, okay,
and Casalo was coming off of 2 terrible races down in Florida. Don't forget,
Yes,
not
he
that
was.
he was a surprise to win,
No.
but he was coming
The
off
races
2
in Florida were
pathetic
awful.
races.
Yes.
We need to move on. I did it for that reason. I agree. But, you know, I mean, to me, the race changed the 5 scratching out because I wanted to use 2s and 5s.
Okay.
We saw the race a little differently, even though we landed on the same horse. Race number, you know, I'm going to talk about race number because Anthony double scratched into my horses
Yeah, go
in
ahead.
race
Do
number
your
10.
thing, man.
And we only have 2 minutes. I like Prince of Pharaohs a lot. Let's show River Dog quickly winning the Mike Lee. We're running out of time.
I'll leave.
He's the horse to beat if he runs his race.
If he runs his race, he is clearly the horse to beat.
Right.
But
Kelly Breen's about 20% overall with trainer change in the dirt, $1.50 ROI. He's just 1 for 9 in New York before at the board, but probably most of them weren't. River Dog. There's a good horse, River Dog. He runs his race. He's going to be very, very tough. I'm annoyed by the scratches because I didn't like St. Selby at all. I thought he was hopeless in here. I think Rob Atras realized he wasn't going to win. That's why he's taking a shot running him on the turf on Thursdays in a turf race on Thursday. I do want to bet Prince of Pharaohs. His last race was remarkable. If he runs his last race, if River Dog shows up, he'll win.
right.
But if he doesn't, and I'm going to disagree with David, I think River Dog will be favored in here. I
I
can't
do
see
too.
Western Timberlake being favored over him. Maybe I'm
I
wrong.
agree.
So we'll look at Prince of Pharaohs and we'll show the start. Pan and head on. I mean, this horse was a little bit awkward.
He ran
He's
amazingly
the number
after the
9 in
start.
this race. The other thing about this race, this was the track where horses couldn't close all day, and this was a race where the speeds ran around the track together. So you're going to see him how he drops back suddenly right in there. And you're going to see when you watch the head-on what exactly happened to him, because now he's back in second to last. This was some performance that this horse put in, all things considered. Okay, first of all, he gets shut off and bumped around at the start, but it actually gets worse after this, because after that, they shut off the door again, and he gets completely taken out of the race. This is a horse that has run races that are very good. He kind of lost his form. I know Linda Adam entered for a tag. I don't totally trust this horse, but he runs his last race. They've entered the running shoes on. Are you at all worried about Winner's Laugh maybe refining his form a little bit?
Yeah.
You know, with the scratch of the 2.
With the scratches, the scratches help
He's going to be
him.
there
Yep.
with Dustin Timberlake. I don't like Dustin Timberlake. I think he's dressed up by the track last time. I guess with the scratches, he's not impossible, but I want 4s and 9s.
We're out of time, my friend.
We're out of time. Head over to Naira Bets. You're not a member of Naira Bets. Use the promo code STAKES200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have the $25 bonus if you bet 75 or more at Aqueduct, Keeneland, and Oaklawn. You must opt in. We also have the cross-country pick 5. You've got 3 at Keeneland, race 8, 9, and 11, including Giants Causeway in Lexington, and you've got races 8 and 9 here, a solid sequence. Top of the stretch, head over to BelmontStakes.com for your Belmont Stakes information. And last but not least, we're on FS2. We're on some other networks as well. They probably are on the website. I know we're on SNY late in the day.
Naira.com has everything.
There you go. We're done. Johnny I's up next with the reprise scratches and changes.
Hello, racing fans. Once again, welcome to Aqueduct. A mix of sun and clouds right now. The temperature around 60 degrees. The main track is fast. The turf courses are firm. The portable rail is up at 12 feet on the outer turf and no portable rail on the inner. And there are no changes to report in today's first race. And no changes in the second. Moving to the third, scratch 3, no salt. 5, there is a storm brewing. And 10, Bingo John. Scratch 3, 5, and 10. Number 7, now 1 pound over. Number 8, Danzig with the Stars, will race with blinkers off. Blinkers off, number 8, Danzig with the Stars. Race 4, the Plenty of Grace Stakes. There'll be no show, trifecta, or superfecta. Scratch 2, Jacoza. And 4, Halo City.